Ooh, it looks like it's working. Yay. Hi. Hi. How's it going, everybody? Um, so here I am, with no real plan in place because, man, it was a crazy weekend. Hopefully everybody is safe and well. Um, I had a very busy weekend this weekend. Saturday, I went out to protest, and then yesterday, I went to the 99 Ranch Market with my husband, and my car overheated on the freeway. So, talk about feeling like a little out of sorts. It was real hot, like 100 degrees. So yeah, I just figured, hey, why don't I just play with some scraps today? Because that's what I can do and have a little fun and hopefully give you some ideas on things you can play with. Um, just so you're aware, all of the stuff that I'm playing with right now, because I've been just kind of going through my stuff, um, it are all scraps. I have just little things I'm trying to figure out how to use. Like I have some really cool silk ribbon here and some painted cheesecloth. I think I might have shown this last time. Uh, Scraps of my hand painted fabrics and literally like the hem from something that I painted. It's orange. So hopefully give you some ideas on what you can do with these scraps. I know last time it was making an amulet, which we made this little guy right here. I haven't stitched on it yet because honestly, it's not really speaking to me aside from this cool sunset blob right here. So I haven't quite figured out what to put on it. And this one, I'm like, I think I want to keep and put on a necklace and decorate or whatever. But I've also been making little beads and little doodads. Here's a little kind of amulet that I made. It's so stinking easy, you guys. I literally just folded over this plaid fabric and I didn't even stitch it on the back. Like it's open right there, but I just really quickly whip stitched the ends and then took some blue thread and some gosh, what was this? These were strings from a piece of this my favorite linen, which is this sparkly gray linen, and it was the white strings from that with a little bit of the sparkle and just did some couching on it. And then I've got a little doodad there. But I wanted to give you some ideas because I was just thinking about it here and what I have personally, and things like I want to make something else out of. So, first things first. I had this crazy dream that I was making little diamonds. That sounds so dumb. But anyway, so I was having a little dream I was making little diamonds. So I drew a little diamond pattern and I cut it out and then I cut my fabric and I did it two different ways here. I haven't stitched it yet or anything. This was just a little idea I had for like the tiniest pieces of fabric. So this one I just cut it. See, it was folded. And I was just gonna like whip stitch over the top of it with a little bit of maybe quilting batting or some piece of felt or something on the inside to give it a little bit of dimension, and then stitch these lines over it so I have a sparkly little gem. Okay. And this one I actually did more like I think you would do this more with quilting where you have a thing and then you make sure that you make the piece like bigger so you can stitch it on the inside and fold it inside out. So I did that with this piece, but I was like playing with little gem sized pieces, and that's something for probably a little future project, but it's just an idea for tiny pieces. I know that last time I also showed you these little triangles, and I do the triangles two different ways. You can either do it with, where'd my other little piece go? I had a pink, oh, there it is, stuck to the back of this. Okay, so you can either do it like the little chickens where you fold it in half and you can stitch like you want three sides closed. So you wouldn't stitch this side, but you could stitch this side and this side, pop it inside out, and then stitch the last side the opposite direction. I'll show you that in just a second. Or you can make the one where it's just a little square and you fold it over like this and stitch it, and then you fold this piece in and then stitch the sides. So I'll show you that too. And if you're looking to get more interesting with it, because these don't have any stitching on them, I save pieces of and little remnants. I made a piece for my friend Colleen for her birthday, and I tried to do this thing on my sewing machine where I did the freehand motion with squiggles, and you can see this was a test piece that I did, and it looks like garbage, right? Like this was just like trying to figure it out, but I saved the pieces because then I could make them into other things. That's going to be a little yo-yo for later with that, because I also have these little pieces here. So for this piece, I'm going to make this into a triangle, and it'll have the stitches on it, so it'll look more interesting. So I have my handy dandy thread here, and I'm going to do a little play and do some stitching along this side. And one of the things, I learned this in a class, I want to say, or Zach Foster, he's a quilter. He's somebody that I like to follow on Instagram. He was talking about making miniature quilts, and he'll do like a running stitch when he's sewing his pieces together. And then every so often, what he'll do is he'll just go backwards and then go forward. So that's kind of to keep the thread in place, I guess. Like I said, not a quilter. I do sew garments, but whoops. And I like to hand sew, really, honestly. It's kind of fun. It's very relaxing when you're not stabbing yourself with the needle, which I do have a tendency to do sometimes. And really, I started doing this kind of stuff recently because I'm really avoiding my whip pile, guys. I have so many works in progress right now, and I'm really avoiding them all. Not sure what that's about. Probably just weird mental state or whatever. So there you go. I sewed this side and this side, and actually there's quite a lot on the edges there. So I'm just going to kind of trim it a little bit so I can not have too much of a problem flipping it inside out. Not that I think I will. I mean, it's just tiny, whatever. Oh, T, can you bring me a chopstick, please? Oh, he can't hear me. He's got his headphones in. Oh, but the other one hears me. Thanks, Lo. My kids are done with school, so they are home. Thank you. So here's something. My chopsticks are flat. So I like to go in and use them for my little corners and stuff. And then I also have this flat end too that I could use. Just to kind of pop it out. Chopsticks really come in handy regardless. I have a real hard time personally, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I have a hard time with turning things inside out. Like one of the issues that I have when I'm making garments is that if I have to make really thin like straps or something, it's all over for me. I don't know how to do it. Okay, so there's my little square. I'm not really that concerned about the corners. It's like whatever. And now I'm gonna stick a little bit in here. So, hey Stacy, what are you gonna do with all this weird stuff? Well, I like to make little bits of jewelry and stuff. So some of the stuff will go in my jewelry. You can use them as charms. You can make stitch markers for your knitting. you know, all that fun jazz. So let's see. Now for this, there's the end of my thing. I'm gonna go like halfway in. It's like a little bit, like just kind of hanging off there. But I'm gonna go like right here. Because now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna fold it the opposite direction. So, and also another way to do this, if I can get this to work for me, is I'm gonna sort of fold it in. See if I can fold in these edges. If not, it doesn't matter. Depends on really how rough and ready, wabi-sabi you want your stuff to look. If you want it to have a look like, you know, very rustic or whatever, you can leave those out. I go either way, honestly. It's, you know, do what you feel. It's the most important thing. Okay. Oh. All right. You can also use your little needle to try to fold this stuff in. And then I do this last part like I would do my puppets. Oh man, I probably need more stuffing in here. Doesn't feel very stuffed. I don't want it overly stuffed. I was kind of hoping for something else, but you know, whatever. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna pop this little edge in. Hopefully you can see that. Pop the edge in. Pop the edge in. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. Bloop. The edge does not want to stay in. And then I'm gonna sew across. Like I said, this one is understuffed. I probably could put more stuffing in it. Just grab the whatever quilt batting's here, honestly. Like, I'm not even trying to be super precious about it. And it's a great project if you want something tiny to like hang out in your purse when you're out someplace, do a little stitching, you know, because that's fun sometimes. I also too, like with all of my fancy pants, fine spinning, I do sometimes try to figure out how I can incorporate that into this. Like, oh, maybe I'll do some stitching on top of it with some of my hand spun yarn too. And there were a couple, I did some beads. I made some beads for the protest to like give out to other protesters, and I got real shy and I didn't do that. So, you know, I'll just keep them, and that way I can say, oh, I had these at the protest. So yeah, it was a fun time. Lots of great people I met. There we go. So there's my little, like, it's almost like a little bean bag. Oh my gosh. And like I said, I'm not super precious about it. If I wanted to stuff it more, I could stuff it more. I do have more of this. I saved all of the stuff that I did my freehand sewing on. But also too, my plan for some of these is to do some stitching on top of them too. Like, look at that. I didn't even poke out my corners, but you know, you get the point. So I did that. Actually, let me do this. Bloop. And then I'll just poke it out this side. Also too, when you're sewing that last edge, if you feel so inclined, you can sew a jump ring to it. You can take some little crocheted doodads and, you know, make yourself a loop, just like a single crocheted little loop-de-doo, if you want something, you know, to use to hang it on. There you go. I might actually sew these to something. So, like I said, I don't have much of a plan for any of this yet. I'm just making a bunch of little doodads, and it makes me happy. So there's that. So there's one. And then for the other one, I'm going to show you, here's the square. So that was like 2 squares together. You can do 2 squares. Like, let's say you wanted them to be 2 different colors. Instead of doing the fold, you could just cut 2 squares instead of cutting a, you know, a rectangle and folding it. This is how I made that one right there. These are more triangular. What would you call that? I don't know what type of triangle that is. I was not very good at geometry. But anyway, like a just triangle, like the chickens, okay? And then if you want to have like a taller triangle, this I did one of these for my mom. I made an amulet for her out of scrap fabric and made her like a textile necklace. And the way I did that was, it was this way. So you fold it one way and then you would fold that piece. So and of course it's going to be fiddly too, because you know you're making tiny stuff. It can get a little crazy with the tiny sewing, and I probably could have done this the correct way and had the outside, but it doesn't matter. This one, you know, I'll probably cover it with something. Like I said, I have lots of silk ribbon that I really would love to incorporate into something, and it's like hand painted, and I just haven't quite figured out what I want to do with it yet. It wants to be something, I just don't know what. So I'm hoping that the more I muck about with this sort of thing, the more I will have an idea of what I can do with that. Also too, if you just like to do intuitive stitching, like one of my favorite things to do is make circles. And I grabbed this. This was one of my hand-stitched ornaments that I never finished. It's got hems on it that I used for stripes. And then here's a hand-painted circle. And I don't know if you can see, but I just did some intuitive stitching around it. It didn't have to be perfect. And then put a star on top. So, you know, just whatever feels right, do that. If it makes you feel calm, then good on you. Like, it's supposed to be a relaxing activity. And honestly, like when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially with the triangles, I love making triangles. I love sewing little triangles. And I was like, gosh, you know, I could just make like a bowl of triangles and keep them for other projects. Ooh, am I going to be able to flip this inside out? I don't know. See, me always having problems flipping stuff inside out. It's crazy. And there's nothing to say that you have to do it inside out either. And let's be real. If you feel like it, you can make your stuff and just stitch on the outside of it like I did this. I didn't tuck those ends in. I just, you know, stitched on top of them. And these are kind of fun too. I do like doing couching and just trying to figure out how to make squiggles work. And then like here I have a bead that I couched some silk ribbon on top of, so red, white, and blue. So that, you know, that's fun. Let's see here. This one I'm going to stuff more, I think. Also helpful. These are the, I swear these chopsticks are the best thing that my husband ever bought me. Well, maybe not the best thing he ever bought me, but it's one of a fabulous thing that my husband got me. He brought home these chopsticks when he went to Korea, and they're just fantastic. I love them so much. They're great because they are flat, number one, and now when I eat with like normal regular chopsticks, like if you go get Chinese food, right? And I do realize like every culture has different types of My friend Jen was teaching me about this, like different types of chopsticks for different cultures, different places. And so I was telling her, I'm like, oh, I've got these flat chopsticks, and she's like, oh, those are Korean chopsticks. Like, oh, okay, cool. I also have round chopsticks, but I find now, because I'm so used to eating with the flat ones, that it's sort of hard for me to now eat with the round ones. I feel kind of fumbly. I guess it's whatever you're used to. But they're also fantastic for putting stuffing into small places, and because it's got like little grips at the bottom, they're fantastic. And they're flat. Can do my corners. I use my chopsticks for crafting and for eating. So it's a multi-use tool. Okay, so gonna do some stitching across. Now what I did was I had stitched down the one side, and then I took the corner and I pushed it to the inside. So where the seam met here on that square, I pushed the pointy corner of the remaining fabric to that seam. Hopefully that makes sense. I know my camera's not the best, so, and when you're working with tiny stuff, sometimes it's a little bit hard to see. I'm just gonna try to poke these. Also, honestly, like, let's be real, my eyesight is wild. Okay, I'm just gonna, whatever, just do this. There we go. Let me pull off that string. Okay, so here I did part of it, but honestly, it's very wabi-sabi. I'm gonna go back and do, I'm just gonna go back and do a little whip stitchy. Also too, the one that I made for my mom, that I made like this triangle, because I did like the whip stitch on the outside, it sort of sat flat from what I remember. So, you know, that's always a good thing too. Still feeling a little understuffed. I'll put more in there. Also too, I could use fiberfill for this, and it might be actually a little bit better. I'm just using what I have on hand, because I think it's important to use our scraps and not have any waste. And I'm assuming that lots of crafters do this, where they just save everything. I feel a little bit like a craft hoarder. So I'm not entirely sure, like, I don't know. Maybe you guys do it too, and yeah, it'll be awesome. Save all your stuff. Like, I think that the hems that I saved, I'm gonna make some beads out of. And the cool thing is like, let's say you want to make a necklace and you want to put like a bunch of beads on it, right? You want to make your own little fabric beads. You don't have to have holes. You can either apply jump rings to them, which is a great way to, you know, get it if you want it to be more pendant like, or if you have some sort of chain. Doesn't even have to be a chain, let's be honest. Like, let's say you crochet yourself a chain. So you have a crocheted chain out of whatever you so choose. You can then just make these beads around the chain. And I can show you that in a second too. So I'm just gonna whip stitch this end. Like, I push the bits in, and I had the one that I made last time, and I don't know what I did with it. I think I lost it. I don't remember what color it was. So, And depending on, oh, whoops, depending on how you cut your squares too, you'll end up with different triangular shapes. But triangles are fun. It's just kind of a different three-dimensional shape to make. I mean, we all know how to make yo-yos, right? Oh, well, how did I do that? Whoopsies. Look at that. Guess what I'm going to do? It's so easy peasy. I'm just going to sew it right to the thing. Like, talk about, if you don't like something too, this was something I learned from Deb Weiss. She's fantastic. She's one of my favorite textile artists. If you don't like it, stitch over it. Like, it's totally fine. You can do that. And so as you can see here, I had a loop that I did not see and left it open. I'm just going to stitch it down to the fabric because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Do what you feel you want to do. And honestly, like, when you get enough of these done, you're going to be like, oh, look at this. These all look like just a bunch of like crazy stuff maybe a child made. And then you put them together and it's like, oh, this is not so bad. Because I know, like, we're all very, what do you call it? Self-critical. And honestly, like, I'm at that particular point in my life where it's like, I don't even care if I make something ugly as long as I'm doing something. I don't want to sit around and obsess about it. And if somebody likes it, cool. And if not, whatever. There we go. So here's another little triangle. And because of the way I stitched this bottom, you can see it's really flat. It's got bits hanging off. I don't care. I don't care. You do that. It stands up. Oh, whoops. There you go. See, it stands up. You can put a little thing on top and hang it. So it hangs down like this. It kind of looks like a little traffic cone. So that's another little thing I do. So if you think something looks too plain, just stitch on top of it. Or like for this one, let's see, what can we put on this one? Let me cut off some little bits here. Here's some pieces of some stuff that I painted. I still have thread on here. What I'm using right now is just plain sewing thread. You can go in and use specialty thread. I was trying this stuff out for a while. I don't know why I bought this. It's sulky rayon. Not a fan. I find like it's not strong enough. Or maybe I'm too heavy-handed. You can use fishing line. You can use embroidery floss, which I have some extras sitting over here. But, you know, do whatever you like. So, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to go like this. Okay, so I am going to go underneath here. Like, literally, you can't get any more freaking intuitive than this, I don't think. I'm literally just taking I'm not even going to cut the scrap. I'm not going to adjust it in any way. I'm going to take this, it's folded in half, and I'm just going to start sewing it on here. And you can sew fabric around in a spiral on your little doodads. You can, gosh, what else could you do? You could make like little, I like to call them confettis. What is that called? Like not seed stitch. Where you just like stitch little lines into it in all different ways. Grab some, whatchamacallit. I'm gonna, ooh, look at that. I'm just gonna stitch around this now. And leave that bit just hanging. Yeah, why not? That's fun. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can poke this corner out a little bit more. Blur. Like that. You know, I can always work on it later too. It's like whatever. Um, okay, cool. So there, I went around this piece, and now I'm gonna go back over. Where do I want to go? I'll go here. Like, I'm not even really, there's no grand plan. There's no real need to be fussy about it. I'm just gonna sew little bits of scrap to other little bits of scrap, and the more you cover it with something, the more involved it is. So, like, let's say, what would be the next thing I would do on this? I could grab another little piece in some kind of color. I don't know what color. I do have, a couple different bits here, but I'm just gonna leave ends sticking out, like make it weird and sculptural and strange. And I'll tell you, like, if you take care of this stuff, right? Like, if you don't wear it all the time, or because I'm always worried, like, oh gosh, textile jewelry or little doodads or whatever that you wear don't really, they probably won't hold up very well. Well, I have a bracelet on right now. I can show you in just a second. I want to get this out from around here. And here's the thing too, with time, yes, it'll wear. But then sometimes you end up with a whole different piece. Like, I don't know. It's really interesting. Like, so both my kid and I have like little bracelets that I made, and some of my friends, I've given them to as well. See, there we go. That's sewn on there, just like that. Do that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make a little knot. I'll show you in just a sec. My bracelet, it's boring. It's not like anything fantastic, but I wear it all the time, and it was more like a test, right? So let me show you. I have this bracelet on. Okay, it is made with fishing line. There we go. It has actual factual beads on it, but it also has fabric beads that I made. This is literally just a piece of purple fabric folded over a piece of fishing line and then sewn onto the fishing line. So my beads, like, here's some of my favorite linen. My beads stay in between these bits, right? This has a little extra stuff on it, some sparkly junk and thread or whatever. And it looks pretty rough, right? I've been wearing this for like a year. I don't take it off. I wear it in the shower. It's faded. It looks different, but the beads have, even with embroidery floss, held up really well. I think the only thing that you can really see some serious wear on too is this. That used to be an X, and now it's no longer an X, but it still has the X on this side, right? But like, this is just some ribbon wrapped around the crochet chain. This is just fabric wrapped around. And then here's just a piece there with some beads and doodads. It's just, that's what I wear every day. Okay, so my triangle. Here we go. Let's find something else we could put on this triangle. What do we... I don't know about Nicole, but like I said, I wear mine in the shower. I wear it in the pool. Yep, showering and all. And I want to say, when did I make them? It was later in the year. Like, October, November of last year. So that, I mean, more than 6 months plus. And if you're wearing it every single day and wearing it in the shower, and Nicole has ornaments too. Yeah, and that's all done with scrap too. But here's some ribbon that I had from a weaving class, a circular weaving class that I had attended, and I had like a length of it. And I've been taking this and using this on stuff as well. Let's see how much. I might need a new piece of thread. So let me get some new thread. You know what? We'll use this. Why not? So I'll get some sulky. Now, I don't have any sulky on the stuff that I made from last year. I mean, it's okay. It's just that I found like when I'm stitching with it, it wants to break a lot. More so than embroidery floss. So embroidery floss usually is my go-to. And a lot of times I'll use like, what, 2 layers of embroidery floss. So, all right, so here's a piece of our ribbon, for lack of a better term. And this particular ribbon is, it's kind of netted in that it is, it's like a stretchy ribbon. I don't know how well you can see that here, but it's just like a netting, kind of like, if you think about it, the netting you would probably find around your produce. Like, it's that kind of stretchy, and it's got loops on it. So I'm gonna do a little creative stitching here, and I'm gonna do like little strips. I think you can always go back and do like little X's, like, I don't know, do whatever you want. It literally is just about like the ability to play, which I find that for some of my crafting friends seems to be a struggle sometimes. Like, a lot of times I will talk to my friends and they'll be like, oh gosh, like I want to do this or I want to do that. And I feel like maybe people find that, you know, there's not enough hours in the day for me to be able to do X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, like, because I like to try a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't consider myself a master crafter or anything by any stretch. I would say I'm very much a dabbler, and I like to try all kinds of stuff, and then I like to try to figure out how I can take those things and combine them together to make something new or different. And so that's where I'm at, and I feel like it's easier for me to do right now because I'm not currently working, although that may change soon. We'll see. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I feel like enough people in the craft community don't take time to just like frickin' play with stuff. I don't even know if that went through. I'm gonna do that one again. I'm like, let's back up here. That's my dog. So there you go. So there is just a bit of like sparkly stuff attached to it. And honestly, like, what you can do is you can just go around this and, like, let's say, okay, I don't feel like that's going to maybe stay as well as it should. Okay, well, then what you can do, and yes, like, I know you can see my knot right there, whatever. I'm gonna hide it in just a second, or hide part of it, and then cut off the end. You can do the whip stitch. Whip it good, all the way around the outside. And then, you know, it's like you get little pops of color. It'll keep this particular ribbon, like other ribbons I'm sure would be a lot easier to sew on to something like this. I mean, you're operating with a very small amount of real estate, right? Like, it's tiny, so you have to, you know, be aware of what you're doing. But like I said, Deb gave some great advice where she's like, if you don't like it, stitch over it. Slap another piece of fabric on top of it. I know that everybody that will see this has some kind of fabric stash or something to that effect. I mean, I've made these little doodads, little heart charms, things like that out of plastic bags. Specifically, I think I mentioned it last time. I made little Valentines out of a Din Tai Fung bag. They're kind of they have really nice takeout bags at Din Tai Fung. They're kind of plasticky, canvasy type bags. And so it made it super easy to just cut them apart and sew them together. Almost like if you had like one of the, you know, like the plastic tarp you can buy at like your home improvement stores locally. Like it's kind of plasticky, but it's like it's got that weird waffle texture to it. That's what their bags are like. So I cut it up and I used it as fabric, and I made little hearts out of it, and I stitched on it with embroidery floss, and you know, it was one of those things where it was like, at the time I was working, I had a Din Tai Fung bag at the office because I had taken some yarn to work and I wanted to make something for my kids. And so during a lunch period, I just cut things up and made little doodads. Because they always liked, like, whenever I would make them weird things like that. It's like, Mom made us something out of a bag. We don't really do holidays in any kind of big way around here, so it's that they kind of dig that kind of stuff. Very much a huge fan of making instead of buying, especially lately. Oh, I just popped the end of that off. That's fine. Little piece of fabric. Oh, you can't really see that on camera. A little piece of fabric came off the end. And that's totally fine. That was the purple painted fabric. It's all good. Whoops. And then I also wrapped this. This is the part that gets hard, where if you accidentally wrap it around like the top of your triangle or around a piece of fabric that's hanging off. And of course, because this is netted, it's gonna fray at the top too. There you go. There's another little thing on there, doodah. This side's empty, so we need something for that. I feel like I want like bright pink. Maybe I'll use a little piece of this. Okay. So here's the ribbon that I was talking about that I love so much. It's hand painted. Hand painted silk. I'm just going to cut a little piece off. And then what I'm going to do, because this side of my little charm is empty, I'm going to sew it on. Okay, I'm going to use the sulky again. Do my little knot. Let's do this. I'm going to do a little running stitch through the center here and accordion that up like that, like so. Oops. Well, that's new. Had my knot stuck in my scissors. Okay, so I can accordion that up. There's my little knot at the end. And then we're going to take our thingy. Let me see if I can like squish it. Squish. There we go. There's my squish. I'm going to take it. I'm going to attach it here. Gotta keep my thumb on it or a finger on it so I can hold it in place. And I'm just going to stick it to the fabric like a little bow. It's so tiny. This is also a fun thing to do on some of these. Like, just start doing layers and layers. Obviously, my knot's right there. So, what I can do is I can just do layers and layers of this sulky, right? To try to hide the knot. Let me do this. And then periodically, what I'll do, because this is very slick thread, is I'll do a little knot and we'll just cover it up. Or, hide it as best we can. And then it'll look like it has a little bow on it. Like, I'm talking about, you guys, the tiniest amount of fabric. Like, you do not need to have a lot of this stuff. And I don't know about you, but I love tiny little things. Like, and it's strange for me because I have like the worst eyesight in the world. It's really bad. Well, maybe not in the world, but like I've noticed the more that I do tiny things, the more I mean, let's be real, I'm older too. So, I've got to like really get in there. There we go. And so a lot of times you'll see me like looking underneath my glasses because I do have progressives, but for the longest time they were missing and I was just using these glasses. These are my normal everyday glasses. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to do a little go through a couple of these stitches down here, maybe. A couple of stitches, make some more knots. Because like I said, this particular thread, this rayon thread, is real slick. I think I originally got it so I could use it on my machine, and I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of it. Like, I'm sure it has its purpose. I just don't know what it is yet, and I would not consider myself expert sewist. I'm not. I do try my best, and sometimes I fail miserably, but I do try. So there we go. There's a little, oh no, let's see if I can. There you go, you guys. There's a little bow on it. So yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, Stacey, what the heck? It's fine. It's good. Let me tell you. I can like, if I wanted to, I could probably like stitch that down too. It's so fine. So there you go. There you go. There's a little bow on top of it. That's kind of cute. I think I'm going to do that for some of my other stuff because I really do like this ribbon, and it's like bright and happy, and I like that. So there you go. There's a little doodad. And of course you can do, like I said, there's flat pieces. My camera is going to be a stinker. There's flat pieces too that you can do, and the flat pieces are actually way easier than the triangles. It's just that I like to mess around with the triangles, and you can do really anything. Like, my intention is I have this, right? And I wanted to make this into something. So I'm going to probably end up cutting it down, but I'm going to sew this on first. So this will be like the back of it, sew it like this. And then I'll cut it, and then I'll figure out what to put on top of my circle. But it was like just me messing around. And yeah, there's wrinkles in it. That's kind of the point. To get some texture in there, what have you. And it was like a variegated type thread, so it changed color. So I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. I want to make it into something. So yeah, I don't know. You can stitch beforehand. You can take little bits like this that you've been messing around with and cut them up once you sew them, you know. Sew this on top, cut around the edges, flip it inside out, slap some stuff on it. And then once again, I'm going to show you this because this is my needle book. And as you can see, it's got all kinds of like raw edges. This was the stitch I was saying. You could just do this stitch on something. So if I wanted to take one of these little triangles and just do a like little seed stitch or whatever on it, then that's cool. Actually, I'll do that, and then I'll go and you guys can go make some stuff. I had some like magenta, like pinky red here. So in general, when I'm doing my embroidery stitches on these things, I'll do 2 strands. So everybody knows hopefully how to separate their strands of embroidery floss. It's not rocket science. This I had already used some on one of my beads, so it was just 4 strands. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'm going to see if I can, see I've got a piece of thread off here too that I need to cinch down. I'm going to just poke this baby through here. This is a thicker needle that I'm using too, by the way, just because it was in front of me. But I'm going to take that and I'm just going to pull that all the way like that. And like I said, if you're wearing it in the shower, yeah, this stuff might come apart. But if you're not, it could probably last a really long time. But I think it's important to like test these things out. Like if you really want to, if you want to make something like this, you know, yeah, test it out. Oh, I forgot this is the hem one. You know what? Let me put this on a thinner one. I made this triangle out of one of the hems, so it's folded in on itself, the fabric. So I'm going to go with some sharp thinner needle to go through that fabric. Let's see how that works. So don't fight against it, you know? Like, why do that to yourself? Oh yeah, that's much better. There we go. Blurp, blurp, blurp. And just, you know, where do you want to do it? Do it wherever you want. Like, it's kind of fun because it doesn't really matter. It's low stakes. You have just random bits and you don't have to worry about whether it's going to turn out to be some kind of precious piece of art. Really, really, really super low stakes. If you screw up, slap something else on top of it. It's totally up to you, and it's going to be whatever you want it to be. And honestly, I find that when I make stuff like this is my own personal opinion, but I like to think like, oh, I'm putting some kind of energy and effort into making this piece, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be whatever it is right now because I'm in this moment. Sounds very artsy-fartsy of me, but it's like I'm in this moment and I'm putting whatever energy into this thing. And that, I know I've made comments on it before. It's like I feel like we need to feel like we're making more magical items and really getting back to you know, like play. A lot of adults don't get a chance to play, and I think it's super important that that's what we do. So like I'm just gonna cover it like this. There's a bunch of seed stitches, and then what I'll do is I can go ahead and take a different color. So I'm going to leave it like that. Like, bloop. And then I'm going to take, where's my other leftovers? You can see I was using stuff recently. I'm like, when did I use this color? Oh, I was trying to stitch some plastic little sleeves for a small binder yesterday, and to put my knitting needles in, because I don't really have good knitting needle storage. And so I have like a tiny binder and some little plastic pockets, and then I was actually embroidering through the plastic yesterday, so that I could separate all my knitting needles. There we go. Let's go here. Like, how fun is this? Make it look like you made a little stitched triangle and you decided to put sprinkles on top. It'll be like a little cupcake. Even though part of this triangle is gray, and gray is probably not the best color for a cupcake, it at least has bright sprinkles. Unless it's like, somebody's like over the hill birthday party. It's part gray. Or black icing. If you've ever eaten anything with black icing, that's always fun because it makes your mouth gray. There we go. But, take some time to just mess around, because sometimes your brain is all full of like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening in the world right now. And yes, that stuff is important, and we should make sure that we're taking care of those things. But sometimes you just need to take a mental break. And this is a great way to just let your brain like have a breath, right? So you can come up with ideas, because honestly, the more stressed out you are and the more you overextend yourself, I talk this like I should follow my own advice, but the more you overextend yourself, the less creative you're going to be. And I know for me personally, like I said, I have a ton of whips right now that need to be attended to, but honestly, my brain's tired. There's too much happening in the world right now, and those things can wait. Those things can wait. Instead, if I want to make just like little bitty bits of fun little sprinkled triangle whatevers, then that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so let me pull this through. Notice I'm like, sometimes I'll knot something, sometimes I won't. Depends on how I feel. It's fine. Like I said, this is playtime. There you go. There's my little triangle that's got little confettis on it. Little seed stitch, or whatever it's called. My brain's melting. So there you go. So hopefully that helps. And I don't know, we'll play next week by ear and see what we're into doing. There are a couple different things that I really should do, but I haven't been able to bring myself to do them yet, so we'll see. But in the meantime, go get some of your little bits. Oh, one more thing before I go. If you want something that has like a pattern on it, grab some bias tape and use that.